Hello, everyone. Happy day, happy day. So, you know what? Let's talk about this for a minute. You had a couple of sales calls with all no's. You've gotten all no's on the call, or you haven't had any sales calls. Or, and I'm talking about this in your coaching business. I'm talking to coaches right now. There's no one has hopped on your calls, or perhaps, and this is for all of us entrepreneurs out here, no one is commenting on your content. No one is commenting on your post. No one is interacting with your content. No one is liking it, sharing it. Nothing, no activities are taking place. It just seems as if no one is able to resonate with your information, with you. And so, you're looking over at everybody else, everyone else in your space. And when you're looking to your left and your right, it seems like every other entrepreneur is just killing it right now. They're just crushing it. They've got, raving fans and clients and a peer network that they're just building and is supporting them, and they're gaining traction. And so what happens is, and this tends to happen a lot, is that, we end up feeling like a fraud. Maybe you don't feel as if you're good enough. You don't see the value in your brand. You start diminishing that. And so what happens? Your visibility starts to tank. And if your visibility starts to tank, well, then your business starts to tank, because you being the brand, if you're not showing up, then of course that is not going to serve you. So how are we going to keep these things in check and avoid self-sabotage? Today, I want to talk about the 3 ways that you can beat imposter syndrome, and boost your brand. Let's get into this. And in case you don't know, I'm Dr. Renee. I'm a brand strategist and designer. I help entrepreneurs like you to stand out and attract their ideal, their soulmate clients. I help those clients, those potential clients who become clients, I help them to fall in love with you, okay, with your brand. So what is imposter syndrome? And you probably already know, you probably already felt it, gone through it, are going through it now at some point or another. And we're going to get really techie with it. You can say that it's a psychological pattern. Yes, I did study psychology, so I do know this. It's psychological pattern, and it's, this feeling, you start doubting yourself, and you have this fear of being exposed as a fraud. Right? So it's rooted in fear, and it just creates anxiety, basically. So there are 3 things you can do to keep that in check. And just, every one of us goes through this at some point in our business. If you're just starting out in your business, this will probably most likely bubble up a lot. And if you are in your business for a while now and you're just trying to next level, anytime you're trying to next level your business, it just seems like this imposter syndrome rears its head, and it just comes out of nowhere, right? And I've seen this with myself, and I've seen this with my clients. No one is immune to this. So these 3 things can help you to deal with imposter syndrome. Number 1, what I want you to do is to separate your feelings from the facts. Separate the 2, create a list of each one, and jot them down. I want you to jot down the feelings that are coming up for you. This is particularly true, once again, if you are new to entrepreneurship, and even if you're seasoned, you have your business for a while. And I'm especially talking to my empaths and my introverts here, who sometimes we have some anxiety about being the face of our business. Jot down those feelings that come up, whether they're anxiety, or you're clearly, sure that it's fear that's coming up. Jot down those feelings. And then what I want you to do is to look at the root of those feelings. I want you to identify where are they coming up from? What is the root of it? Is it any old stories that were told to you that maybe, you're crazy for starting a business? Is it your non-entrepreneurial friends and family members who are looking at you like you're insane for going ahead and becoming a coach or consultant? Is it that? Or is it your own past experiences, past traumas even? Especially if you've worked in a corporate environment and you've had some bad experiences with that, and now you're stepping into your role as an owner, as a CEO, and now these, this anxiety, this imposter syndrome, these feelings are coming up, and now you have all this doubt, right? Jot that all down, because somehow it just helps to put it all on paper and just to see it and nip it in the bud. Write it down. And then the other thing I want you to do is to write down the facts, the real deal. I want you to write down your degrees, your certifications. I want you to write down your experience that you have in that ties to your work. What experience do you have? Jot that down. Your testimonials, put that down. Results, put that all down on paper and list it. Because when you see the two, it's always great to have that list of facts there readily available for you, so you can look at it and use it as a way to counter all these feelings that are coming up, all this anxiety and stress and doubt. Because you have all this evidence now that you have on paper that's like, oh yeah, I totally forgot that I am, a certified, Reiki instructor. Oh yes, I forgot that I've worked with, 30 women who were all very happy with my services. Write those things down just to remind you. And if you have to, tape it on your laptop, on your computer, on a wall, on a whiteboard, somewhere that you can easily access and see each day as you're working, and just like daily reminder, kind of like an affirmation. Do that. Okay, that's the first thing you can do to counter imposter syndrome. Now, the second thing you can do to counter imposter syndrome is to take hold of your brand story. And now in my coaching, I tell you a lot about brand stories and how to use your brand story to stand out, to make you memorable, so that you stand out in your industry. And the other thing it can help you with is to validate yourself. So instead of seeking validation from your family members who may not understand you and what's coming up in these feelings, or you may not have other entrepreneurial friends who you can speak to, do lean on your brand story, because that'll serve as like an internal validation. It'll remind you of that you have experience, that you know what you're talking about, that you are good enough, you lived it, breathed whatever service that you can provide, or maybe it's a story on how you've helped serve other people, but now you have this point of reference that you can always lean on. And in fact, put that on your list of facts. Don't forget, like, another bullet, your brand story. This is why I'm good enough. Put that down, because that'll help to remind you that, yes, my signature story tells me that my business is viable, that it can grow, that things are working or have worked, because I have this point of reference. I have this evidence. So, and it'll also remind you that you have a unique brand, that you don't always have to compare yourself and say, well, I'm not as good as XYZ coach or XYZ consultant, because you're your own unique coach, consultant, entrepreneur, all right? So do that. So first thing you do is separate facts from feelings. Second thing you can do is to lean on your brand story. And then the third thing you can do to counter imposter syndrome is, this one is for my perfectionists out there. Chances are, if you're dealing with imposter syndrome, is because you're also a perfectionist, right? And you have some sort of fear of failure. And I can also speak to this because I am also a recovering perfectionist. I totally get this. This feeling that you always need to know everything, that you will never know enough. Like, you feel as if you still always have to get all the answers before the business is good enough, before you can nail sales calls, before you start picking up clients, before anything can work in your business. You feel as if you need to know the encyclopedia of everything you're doing as a service provider. You feel as if, oh, I gotta get an LPL certification. I have to get. You feel as if you always need to do and learn more. And that's not always the case. Chances are that isn't the case. If you have experience and you know what you're doing, even on just a general level, you don't need all of that. You're going to waste time. So for my recovering perfectionists, I know that this is a scary space for you all. We end up buying way too many courses. We end up that we don't finish, chances are. Or we're hiring our umpteenth coach, or you know what, we're simply not taking enough action because we feel as if we can't take those next steps. I can't book a call because you're stuck in this fear, in this bubble of being the perfect owner. And that's the problem with imposter syndrome. It will keep you stuck. So, you know, I just contributed to this article in Small Biz Tools. It was about lessons to be learned, entrepreneurs' lessons that we've learned from failure. And I contribute my own lesson and shared how I, you know, been learning to embrace failure, which is tough. Believe me, it's tough. I'm still working on embracing failure, but realize that it's a part of business. You will fail at some point. You will fail. And it doesn't have to be massive failure, but sometimes things don't work. You have to do trial error, change things up in your business. That's what business is, right? That's why if you're doing you are doing marketing, you have to at some point in your business. With marketing, you're always tinkering. You know, you're changing the ad, you're changing the copy, you're changing how the message is, you know, making sure the brand voice is right, you're always tinkering within your business. That's inevitable. And you can view it as failure, or you can just view it as failing forward or learning, right? So have confidence in your services, in your pricing, your products. That was the lesson that I said about fear of failure and perfectionism. And just take comfort in knowing that as long as you're taking action, you're going to move forward, right? And as long as you're showing up and you have those things, you're validating yourself and you remember the facts and you're separating the two from those feelings and the fiction, then you will be able to step comfortably into your CEO shoes, and the CEO version of you will show up and pull all the skills that you have to help you to deliver results. So don't overthink it. I know it's easy to say that, right? That's why we deal with imposter syndrome. But at least these three things, if you do these three things, you separate feelings from facts, or you can say separate fiction from facts, if you want to say that. Lean on your brand story, because that's pointing to your evidence that you're good enough, you're unique. That's another point of reference. And then let go of perfectionism. This one is going to take some work. In fact, it's going to take work. It's just going to take you taking action and just letting go of the fear of failure and that you are never ready to move forward in your business. So those are three things you can do today to counter imposter syndrome. So you can show up in your business. So you can build your personal brand that will serve you, right? Get the business going. All right. So if you need my help overcoming all of this imposter syndrome and, you know, moving the business forward, building a brand that will stand out and serve you and your business and the clients that you wish to serve, then my coaching is ideal for you. And I highly recommend that you book a call with me. We can talk and see if it's a fit. And then from there, we can move forward and move past these fears. All right. And if you like this video and it was helpful for you, and now you're feeling confident and you know that you can be successful, don't hold this just to yourself. Do share it with your biz bestie. Do share it, do like it, comment, leave questions below. I will respond. And if you're watching this on YouTube, do subscribe. That would be great as well. I will see you guys next time. Bye.